Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for coming back. Y'all are amazing. And if you're new here, welcome to the family. I'm joined here today by my baby. And if you hear the cutest little baby sounds ever, that would be him, because he is in the chatty stage and it is so cute. Now, you guys really loved my raglan sweater tutorial that I made. You guys love that. I posted that quite a few months ago now. I feel like it's been almost a year, maybe. I could be totally off, but I feel like it's been almost a year. And you guys can go watch that video if you're interested in making a sweater version of that. But I have created a cardigan tutorial for you, for those of you who wanted it or asked for it. Here it is, and I'm so excited about it. You definitely don't have to if you don't want to, but I put these fun bows on. For my other one that I made for my long sleeve version, I just crocheted chains for my ribbon. But for this one, I used some ribbon yarn from Darn Good Yarn that they sent me. This yarn, this green color is also from Darn Good Yarn, but they sent me this ribbon yarn and I was like, how fun would it be to make the most dramatic bows on the front of this? And I love it. I think it's great. My daughter, I asked her what she thought of it and she said it was super funky, which I don't know if she was thinking that was good or bad, but I took it as a very high compliment because she knows all too well that I love funky fashion. And if it's funky, that's definitely a compliment for me. I didn't have enough time because I really wanted to get this video out for you guys, but something that I really want to make with this same tutorial is a long sleeve version, but also a long one in length that's kind of like flowy, lacy, and then kind of increases at the bottom, so it's like really flowy at the bottom. And I didn't have time to get a tutorial out, but if you're interested, I can make one in the near future and then kind of like write down maybe and then comment it how to do it. If you're interested in that, I can definitely do that, but that'll probably be in the near future because I have so many things to make. I have an endless amount of projects in my mind, but not enough time to make them in. That's always the hang up. I'm not sure what color I want to use for the third one. I'm thinking either, so it's like a staple one, I'm thinking either cream, brown, or black. So let me know what you think I should do based on seeing my wardrobe. I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards black or brown for sure, because actually now only black and brown, because I do have already a long cream cardigan that I wear, so I don't technically need one. So I think I should make a black or brown because I don't have a long black or brown cardigan yet. So comment which one I should make, and then yeah, once I figure out how to make it, and then once I actually do make it, I can comment it. If you guys want like the pattern of how I increased on the bottom, I can definitely comment that. If you're interested, just let me know. I hope you love this tutorial and you make your own cardigan. It's super simple and it's not very intimidating, and I know that any beginner could absolutely make this and rock it. So don't be discouraged, you got this, I believe in you. Let's make a cardigan. For this project, I'm using a 5mm hook, and I'm going to start off with a slip knot and chaining a certain amount of chains that will fit around the bottom of my neck. And I'm using a worsted weight yarn, and I'm about a size medium. I'm making about a size medium for this sweater. And I am chaining 120 chains, and I wanted to fit fairly loosely around my neck because I was thinking of how I like a cardigan to fit, and I draped my long chain around my neck with a small gap where the opening of a cardigan would be. Like I was envisioning that, seeing how it would nicely fit, and that's where I got the 120 chains. But of course that depends on your desired fit and the yarn you're using, the size you're making, all of that. So I chained 120, and I have my nice long chain here. And now I'm just going to grab my measuring tape because I need to put my stitch markers in where I'm going to do my increasing for the shoulders and arms. So I'm just pulling out my hook so I can go ahead and grab that measuring tape to see where I'm going to need to put my stitch markers in. So I'm just laying out my tape nice and flat, and then I'm going to take my chain of 120 and I'm going to lay it out as you see me doing here, just kind of like in half with the two ends in the middle, just like this. This is how you're going to lay yours out as well. And make sure that you have it folded evenly on both sides. That's why we have the measuring tape, to make sure that it's even on both sides. So you have your shoulders increasing at the same spot on each side. And here I am just measuring both sides to make sure that I have 4.5 inches on each side, because laying flat it is 9 inches. And I chained 120 for this one, but I think I could have gotten by with chaining more. It was a little bit tight on me in the bust area, and I chained 120 for my green one, and it fits me perfectly. I think because it is a larger weight yarn technically. They're both size 4, but it is a little bit thicker. So definitely take into consideration your yarn weight before you make your chains, because you could make 120 chains and it could be super, super tiny. So definitely remember that. Now I'm just placing my stitch markers about 1.5 inches in on each side. And I'm counting my stitches just to make sure that I have it as even as possible, because I believe it's a little bit more accurate to do it that way. So I'm just counting the stitches on the other side here, just to make sure that I'm putting it in the same spot. I now have both of my stitch markers in on the left side, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on the other side, making sure that everything is still laying 4.5 inches on each side, so I have it the same on the right side. So I'm just measuring 1.5 inches, and then again counting the stitches to make sure that it is kind of the same thing as the other side. I'm not like super strict on it, but I do like it to be as even as I can get it. So I'm just doing the same thing, putting in my stitch markers 1.5 inches on the bottom and then 1.5 inches on the top. So I have 4 stitch markers total in my piece. This part is just the trickiest part, basically, is placing the stitch markers where they need to be. So if you just watch what I do on screen and then go ahead and try to do it for yourself, I think that might be the easiest way of doing it. So now I'm just joining my hook back in where I left off, and I'm just going to go ahead and chain an extra 2. 1, 2, and then in that third chain from my hook, right there, I'm going to put a double crochet. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to put another double crochet. And a double crochet, basically all you do is you yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you just keep on doing 1 double crochet in every single stitch until you reach your first stitch marker. So here I am at my first stitch marker. I'm just going to remove it for the time being. And in that stitch that the stitch marker was in, I'm going to put 1 double crochet, and then I'm going to go ahead and chain 1 and put another double crochet in that same stitch for our increase. And that is our increase that we're going to be doing throughout the entire thing. It is just double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same stitch that the stitch marker is in. And now I'm just putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until I reach my next stitch marker. And then in that chain 1 space that we made in our first increase, I would go ahead and put my stitch marker back in there. I didn't put mine in just because I've made a lot of these and I kind of know where it is. It's easier for me to spot, but I would recommend putting it in the chain 1 space just so you don't miss it for the next row that we're doing. We're going to increase in that exact same space. So if you'd like, you can go ahead and put your stitch marker back in that chain 1 space if you're going to have a trickier time to see it for the next row. And now I've reached my second stitch marker, so I'm just popping it out, and in that same stitch I'm going to again put 1 double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 1 and put another double crochet in the same stitch. And now you can go ahead and see here how tricky it is to see the chain 1 space. It kind of blends in a little bit, which is why I recommend putting the stitch marker back in so you don't miss that spot in the next row. So now I'm again putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until I reach my third and next stitch marker. And in that third stitch marker space there, just pulling out my stitch marker, and I'm going to put again our increase of double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same stitch. And now I'm going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch until I reach my 4th and final stitch marker for this row. And in that 4th stitch marker space, I am going to do our increase of double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then I'm just going to continue on putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until I reach the beginning of the row. On my iPad, I did a little sketch of where I thought the colors would look best together, and I'm just using it as a reference to see which color I need to add in next, and kind of just estimating how many rows of each color that I need based on like how thick I drew it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add in my blue color. So I'm just going to cut my pink yarn and add in the blue. Here's what we have so far. And now I'm just going to start on row 2 by inserting my hook back where I left off, grabbing in my new yarn and attaching it in, and then I'm going to chain 2, turn my work, and this chain 2 does not count as a double crochet. So in that first stitch there, I'm going to go ahead and put in an actual double crochet right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and keep on putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until I reach my chain 1 space. My first chain 1 space of the row. So I'm going to keep on going until I reach that space. And here I am at the chain 1 space, and this is going to be our increasing spot from now on. So we're going to go ahead and put our increase in that chain 1 space, which our increase is double crochet, chain 1, and then another double crochet in the same stitch. So now I'm going to go ahead and put 1 double crochet in every single stitch until I reach my next chain 1 space, where I can do my next increase for this row. Here we have arrived at the next increase spot, and I'm going to go ahead and put 1 double crochet in the stitch right before that chain 1 gap there. And I'm going to go ahead then in that chain 1 space, put my increase of double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in every stitch until I reach my next chain 1 space. And here we are at our 3rd chain 1 space for this row. So in that chain 1 space there, I'm going to put 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, just like we've been doing all along for our increases. And then I'm going to go ahead and again put 1 double crochet in every single stitch until we reach our 4th chain 1 space for this row. And I reached my last increase spot, so here in my chain 1 space I'm putting a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same space, and then I'm just going to put 1 double crochet in every single stitch until I reach the first double crochet of the previous row. Do not put a stitch in the chain 2 of the previous row because it does not count as a stitch. So now I'm just going to go ahead and chain 2, which does not count as a double crochet, and I'm going to turn my work and put a double crochet in that same stitch. And again, repeating the exact same thing that we did in row 2 by putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until I reach my first chain 1 space, which I'm going to do our increase in, which our increase is, of course, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So here I am at the chain 1 space right there, and I'm putting my increase right in that space again, just repeating what exactly we did in row 2. Then I'm just going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch again until I reach my second increase spot. So here I am at my increase spot, and I'm just putting 1 double crochet, chain 1 double crochet in that same stitch again, and then 1 double crochet in every stitch until I reach my 3rd stitch marker. And by now, I'm sure you understand the pattern and what we're doing. Basically, you just do 1 double crochet in every stitch until you reach a stitch marker or a chain 1 space, and you just put 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet into that space. So just 1 double crochet in every stitch until you reach those chain 1 stitch marker spaces where you do your increase, and then when you get to the end of the row, you put your final double crochet in the top of the previous row's first double crochet, and remember, don't put it in the chain 2 because that does not count as a stitch. And then when you're done with your row, you simply chain 2, and then you turn your work and put your first double crochet in that same stitch that the chain 2 is in, because the chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. And then you just repeat by putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until you reach your chain 1 space, and so on and so forth. And I'm just going to keep on repeating this pattern until I have a total of 13 rows. Okay, so I now have my 13 rows, and this is what we have so far, and I'm just going to go ahead and try it on over my shoulders to see how it's fitting and just see if I need to add any extra rows. And as you can see, I'm pinching it under my arm here, and it's quite smaller than I was expecting. Granted, we are going to chain an amount in between there to connect them, but it's still quite a bit smaller than I wanted, so I went ahead and added an extra row in. So I had a total of 14 rows before we decided to make the chains for the sleeves and the bust area. So it was fitting nicely, it just needed an extra row. So I went in and added 1 extra row, and it fit a lot better. Now with the 14 rows, it just fits so much better. So now I'm just estimating, trying it on, seeing like how many chains I need to fit this gap here. So I awkwardly tried to measure that, and I got about 1.5 inches, but it was truly very awkward. You might need an extra set of hands if you want to measure it. But it was about 1.5 inches for me of chains that I need to make. So I'm going ahead and grabbing back my piece again and going to where I left off with my yarn and attaching in a new color. And I'm going to go ahead and resume a normal row just like we've been doing by chaining 2 and turning my work, putting my first double crochet in that first chain 2 space and doing my double crochets until I reach the first increase spot right over there. So I'm just putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until I reach that first increase spot. And now I reached the chain 1 gap, and I'm not going to do anything with it quite yet, but I'm just going to lay my piece out flat the way that it needs to be. And this is not the way it needs to be, and I realized that in like 2 seconds, but now I'm going to go ahead and fix it and fold it the way that it needs to be folded. Yes, just like that. And what we're doing now is making the individual armholes by making our chained amount to connect the increase gaps. So I'm just laying it out flat, so my first increase space is adjacent to my second, and my third increase space is adjacent to my fourth. And now as you can see, if we were to just connect the first increase spot and the second increase spot, the hole for the arm might be a little bit too small, and it might not be. It just depends on your arm size, but I definitely need to add some chains in order for it to fit me. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 double crochet in that first chain 1 increase spot right there, and then I'm going to go ahead and chain 11, and however many you chain is just dependent on your arm size and how much width you want to your cardigan. So I'm chaining 11 because that ended up being about 2 inches, and when I tried it on, it fit me quite well. So I don't like things to be overly tight, so that's why I kind of decided to go for another 1/2 inch just to make sure that it wasn't too tight, because I do not like too tight. So you guys go ahead and chain however many that you need to make a comfortable arm width. And also, just so you know, when you add more chains, it also adds width to the body of the cardigan as well. So just keep that in mind when you're making your chains. So now I have my double crochet and 11 chains all in the first chain 1 increase spot, and now I just need to connect them to the second increase spot, the one adjacent to my first, and I'm going to do that by doing a double crochet with all of these chains attached. So I'm just going to go ahead with my 11 chains and I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to insert my hook into that second chain 1 gap there and make a double crochet. It might be a little bit awkward with all those chains attached, but you just go ahead and make a double crochet with all of them attached there. So now this is the point where I would pull out my hook and try it on. Make sure that it fits, make sure that it's not too tight, because it is very easy to just frog the double crochet and frog the chains if it's too big, or add more chains if it's too small. So go ahead and try it on at this point to make sure that it fits you. And if it does fit you, go ahead and resume 1 double crochet in every single stitch until we reach right here, or our third increase spot. Okay, so I've reached my third increase spot here, and we're just going to repeat the exact same thing that we did on the other side by putting 1 double crochet in that third increase spot, and then chaining 11 or however many chains that you chained for the other side, and then joining it to the 4th increase spot with a double crochet. So I'm just putting my double crochet in that spot there. And then I'm going to go ahead and make my chain of 11. So however many chains you made on the other side, just repeat the exact same thing for this side. Now I have my 11 chains, and I'm just going to join them to my 4th and final increase gap here with a double crochet, the same thing that we did on the other side. So I'm just going to go ahead and yarn over, insert my hook into that increase spot right there, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And there we have our second armhole done. So now we're just going to flip our work around and do 1 double crochet in every single stitch until we reach the end right over here. So just 1 double crochet in every stitch until we reach the end. And don't forget to not put a double crochet in that chain 2 spot, because it doesn't count as a double crochet. And at this point you can really see the cardigan start to look like a cardigan. We have individual armholes, we have a body almost, and now what we're going to do is work on adding more rows to the body, because yes, this is a little bit short for a cardigan. So in a sec, I'm just going to go ahead and reinsert my hook in that spot where we left off, and we're going to work on adding rows to make our cardigan longer. So I'm just popping in my hook again, and I'm going to chain 2, turn my work, and in that first spot again I'm just going to put 1 double crochet, because that chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, and I'm going to put 1 double crochet in every single stitch until we reach those chains that we made for the underarm, and then I'll explain what to do when we get there. Now I've made it to that increase spot where we put our double crochet, so I'm going to put a double crochet in the top of that double crochet, and then we have our chains. I have my chain of 11 here, as you can see, and now in each and every chain across, I'm just going to go and put 1 double crochet in every single chain. So I have 11 double crochets by the end, and you will have more or less depending on however many that you chained. So I'm just putting 1 double crochet in every chain until I reach the other side. Now I have my 11 double crochets in each and every chain all the way across, and I'm just going ahead and counting every single one just to be sure that I have 11 at the end. And I do. So now I'm just going to put 1 double crochet in every single stitch until I reach my next chain 11 spot for the underarm. And we're basically just going to do the exact same thing that we did on this side by putting 1 double crochet in every single chain all the way across until I have 11 and you have however many that you chained. So here I've arrived at that chain area, and again, just 1 double crochet in every single chain all the way across. I have my 11 double crochets in each and every chain now, so I'm going to go ahead and put 1 double crochet in every single stitch until I reach the end of the row. And then you're going to go ahead and chain 2. Turn your work, and then in that same stitch again you're going to put a double crochet because that chain 2 does not count as a double crochet. And now until you reach the length of the cardigan that you want, you're just going to simply put 1 double crochet in every single stitch all the way around, and then of course you're going to chain 2, turn your work, put your first double crochet in that chain 2 space. It's literally just repeats itself all the way around, just 1 double crochet in every single stitch, and I'm going to keep on doing that until I reach the length of the cardigan that I want. This one is going to be a little bit more cropped, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep going until I reach my length, and you go ahead and do the same thing, and we'll meet back up to talk about how we're going to do the sleeves. And then once you reach the amount of rows that you're happy with, you're just going to chain 1, cut your yarn. I already cut mine, pull out your hook, tighten it a bit, and then of course the tedious process of weaving in your ends. I already did one of the sleeves, so I'm just going to show you something really quick, like the importance of turning your work. So here is the front of the sleeve, and I'm just going to flip it around and show you the back. And see how my seam is nice? It's pretty seamless and not that noticeable, but as you can see, it's very, very straight, and that is why you turn your work, so your seams are nice and straight. Now I just flipped around my cardigan, so I am in the back of it because I want my seam to be in the back. So I'm going to join my yarn in any of these double crochets near the armpit area, lower area here, and I'm just going to join it in the same stitch that I joined in on the other side, so both of them are cohesive, and that my back seam is in the back of the cardigan, not in the front. So I'm just going to tie some new yarn in here, and then I'm going to insert my hook and chain 2. And then in that next stitch, I'm going to put a double crochet because now my chain 2 is going to count as a double crochet. So in the next stitch, I'm putting a double crochet and all the rest of the stitches all the way around until you get to some odd stitches that are not actually stitches. You'll know what I mean in just a second. So just keep on going all the way around with 1 double crochet in every stitch until you're like, what do I do now? And then we will meet back up and figure out what to do. Okay, so here we are at that weird awkward space that I was talking about, and as you can see we have a double crochet, but it is laying on its side, so we can't go in the top of it, we just have to poke through it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 double crochets in the side of this double crochet here, and you don't want to add 1 because that would be too little of an amount and there would be too much of a noticeable gap. But if you do 3, it might be a little bit too bunchy in that area. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 double crochets in the side of this laying double crochet here. And just check yourself and make sure that there aren't any awkward gaps or anything. So that looks good. I like that. That looks nice and even to the rest of the stitches, as you can see. So I'm just going to keep on going now. And as you can see here, from remember when we had our chain 11, there's a little bit of a stitch left for us to go into, like a little loop there. And we're just going to insert our hook into all of those 11 stitches there, all those 11 loops. And we're just going to go all the way across, inserting our hook into the stitch and putting a double crochet in every single stitch all the way across, because we have 2 loops to go into with just 1 double crochet in every single stitch. And this row is the only awkward row. The rest of the rows are literally just 1 double crochet in every stitch. You do a slip stitch in the top of the chain 2, turn your work, 1 double crochet in every stitch, and so on and so forth. And don't forget that the chain 2 also counts as a double crochet now that we're doing the sleeves. Okay, so we've reached also another spot here where we have an awkward laying double crochet, and you just do the exact same thing. You just put 2 double crochets or however many looks good in the side there. As you can see, I am working very hard to put my double crochet in a very good spot and ultimately did not succeed. As you can see, that really not good gap there, not cohesive, not good. So I frogged it and just tried to figure out where I went wrong, and then I was like, oh yeah, I didn't put 2 double crochets in this laying double crochet. So that was my bad, but I fixed it and the gap is gone. So all is well. Now I'm just going to finish off my row by putting another double crochet in that final stitch there. And then in the chain 2, which now counts as a stitch for the sleeves, don't forget that now the chain 2 counts as a double crochet. So I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2. And then I'm going to chain 2, turn my work, don't forget. And then in the next stitch, not that first stitch that the chain 2 is coming out of, the next stitch, I'm going to put 1 double crochet. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to put 1 double crochet in the next, in the next, in the next, all the way around. And then I'm going to again slip stitch into the top of the chain 2, turn my work, 1 double crochet in every stitch, and so on and so forth, repeating all the way down the row. So it just basically repeats itself over and over and over again until you reach the length of your arm or however long you want to go. So I am just going to keep on going, putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until I reach the length that I need, and my arms are very long, so I'm going to be crocheting for quite some time. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and keep on crocheting this sleeve, and I will see you guys when I am done and when you're done. Now after I'm done, I'm just going to try it on and put my stitch markers in where I think the ties would look really cute. And I already did one just to test it out, see how it looked. And I'm going to show you how I did the other 2. So I basically just put the ties in like 6 inches apart from each other. And that was a good, like, I liked the look of that for me, but you can put them wherever you like. You don't even have to add them if you don't want to. Of course, it's totally optional. So basically for the tie, what I'm doing is making a slip knot, and then I'm making a number of chains. I made 120 chains for my ties, and they're fairly tight chains. So I did 120. You can do however many you want. And of course, again, this is totally optional. So once you reach the amount of chains that you want, just cut your yarn and pull your little tails pretty tight just to make sure it's nice and secure. And then you can cut the tail fairly close to the end as well. And now that I have my ties, I'm just going to go ahead and remove my stitch marker there and add them in right in that final orange row there. And I'm just going to tuck my tie right under that first double crochet right there. I'm just going to tuck the tie right under there, and then I'm going to do it on the other side in the exact same spot on the other side. And then I'm going to go ahead and tie them together with a little bow for cutesy. It's so cute. I just love the little bows so much. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a third one for the bottom. And yeah, oh my gosh, isn't that cute? Don't you just love it? I think it just adds so much. It's so fun. And now I made my third one. So I'm just tying that one. And I am done. I'm done with my cardigan, and it's so cute. And if you want, you can add a single crochet border all the way around the edge just to make it a little bit more even. I didn't really find it necessary. I liked it just the way it was. Also, I blocked my project before I added on the bows, and this yarn was kind of goofy and did not work well with me. It is a vintage Berocco, B-E-R-O-C-C-O, I think, brand of yarn, and I wasn't the biggest fan. I probably won't get it again just because it was super, super stiff. So if you have any suggestions to make this yarn softer, please let me know. And then of course I had to make a short sleeve version of this cardigan because Darn Good Yarn sent me this gorgeous, soft, luxurious apple green merino wool yarn, and oh my gosh, it was just a pleasure to work with her. I mean, she was amazing. I love this yarn. I love this yarn. I could not recommend it more. It is so beautiful and so soft. I love it. And look at that color in the sun. It is so, so vibrant. So I just made a short sleeve version of this, and just to make a short sleeve version, you just don't add the sleeves. And then I just had to weave in my ends and add on the bows / ribbons. So Darn Good Yarn also sent me a bunch of their ribbon yarn, and when I saw the colors together, I instantly knew that it would look so cool and out there to just put some massive ribbons, bows on this thing. So I did, and I cut a bunch of long strands of this ribbon yarn here in I kind of like focused on the green colors of the ribbon, and I really love this one on the far right. Like, it has like this goldy bronzy look. So I just strung my ribbon onto my tapestry needle, and I'm just putting it on the same way that I did with the ties, the chained ties for the other one. So I'm just copying the exact same thing with this one, but just doing it with this super beautiful, rich, and vibrant ribbon. This color is just so beautiful. This green, this dark green, I absolutely love it. And I totally overestimated, by the way, on the size length, if you will, of the bows that I needed, because oh my gosh, look at how long, look at how big. That was too much. I was like, okay, let's dial it back here. But yeah, that I was like, whoa. I mean, literally, I wish that you guys could have seen the big smile on my face that I made when I saw this. I mean, I just radiated just pure joy, pure bliss. So now I'm just adding my other one in, again, 6 inches down, and then I'm adding the next one 6 inches down, and just copying the same thing that I did for my other one, and just doing that 3 times. So I have 3 cutesy little bows on my short sleeve little cardigan. And here is the finished apple green short sleeve cardigan. It's so cute, definitely a more fun, summery vibe. And I love this pattern because you can make a fall winter cardigan, and you can also make a nice breezy summery cardigan just by doing the exact same pattern, but for one you just add sleeves and the other you don't. And this pattern is super beginner friendly. If you want to make something really cute, something nice for the fall. This is definitely the project to try if you're a beginner and you just know like the basic things about crochet. This pattern is technically very, very easy for a beginner. And this one I love. I love the layout. I love the colors. I love everything about it, except that it is so, so stiff. And I read online that some people were saying that like you soak it in vinegar. Some people were saying that you like scrub it intensely with hair conditioner. So if you've tried any of these things and it's worked, or have any ideas at all on how to make this a lot less stiff, please let me know, because it is as stiff as a board and not as comfortable as I would like it to be. So let me know if you have any suggestions. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you loved this tutorial, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe for more crochet content and tutorials just like this one. And as always, if you make one of these, don't forget to tag me on my socials. I love seeing the things that you guys make. I hope you have the most beautiful and amazing and blessed day, and don't forget to keep creating art all the time. Bye guys!